Sorry about that. I made a boo-boo.
He dropped you.
I hit the wrong button. Oh, goodness. Well, we're having a lot. We're having a lot of goofy moments today. And I thank the divine for the goofy moments. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with a short prayer, and then we'll get right to the show. We'll be doing, the first half we'll be doing Andrew Aloha. Andrew is the founder, producer, executive director, owner of Spiritual Image Productions. And from what I can tell from your website, you guys are just this amazing group. Your purpose, according to your description, is to establish and maintain the right relationships through human values, which I think is just an amazing thing, and it's a great thing to do. And a little bit on that, okay? You're not just talking about physical relationships, are you? You're also talking about relationships with the divine, the God, the goddess, etc. Is that correct?
Aloha, John and James. Thank you for letting me be here, allowing me to be here. I appreciate you inviting me to be on your show today. Yes, definitely. A relationship is basically two or more entities coming together and uniting. As you call United Psychics, it's similar to that. It's expect the same thing as that. And so a relationship is, again, just two more items or things or beings coming together, and it can be simple as just having a simple conversation, or just acknowledging and passing each other by on the streets, on the sidewalk. So, it's maybe only a short-lived relationship of a few seconds, or a long-lived relationship of hundreds of years. In the case of working with divine beings, it could be hundreds of years. It's undetermined.
Amen. Amen. All right. So, like I said, we're going to start the short prayer and get to the main focus of the show, which is your book that you're in the process of writing. So we'll get to that after this. Most gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for being here with us and allowing us to be in your presence, united together, surrounded by light, love, and protection. I ask that any spirits involved today, saints, angels, and otherwise, involved today in the readings, be with us and draw near with love and trust. And give rest to all wandering and weary souls today. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right.
Aloha.
So, Andrew, aloha once again. You're in the process of writing a book called The Ascended Entrepreneur.
The
idea to write this book?
Well, I've been doing interviews. Well, first of all, just to give you a little bit of background on who I am, I've been doing blog talk radio shows for over 3.5 years. I'm going on 4 years pretty soon, and I've been again, the purpose, mission, goal of my company of the shows that we do have to do with establishing and maintaining right relationships and through human values. Basically, to show people how to be in healthy relationship with each other and with themselves. And in that framework, we incorporate and implement all of that. We not only are we saying, well, yeah, let's get along. There's literally a teaching model that we use, that I use for doing this, and that's very simple. Under the guise of Sai Baba, if you've ever known who Sai Baba is and have studied him, I've studied with all kinds of saints, all kinds of people, all kinds of teachers, all kinds of students, and of course myself, for years and years. And one of them is Sai Baba, who has passed on back in 2005. No, I take it back. It was only about 3 years ago. But anyhow, I did visit him. He came to me in a dream, invited me to visit him in India. So I did. I went out there and visited him for almost 2 months. And in that framework, his basic teachings are very simple, and there's a very same teachings that all the angels or all the saints put out there to their students. And if you look at Sai Baba has a following of millions and millions and millions of people. And if you think about it, how can anybody profess to be a teacher to any of these people and still maintain a level of balance, a level of direction? What is that?
Sorry about that. I'm actually checking out the Sai Baba webpage as you're discussing.
Mm-hmm. So anyhow, and then there's Amachi, the hugging saint. She's hugged over 45 million people in her lifetime, and she does a tour every year, going from Washington to Washington, and she too uses the exact same teaching model that Sai Baba does. And then there's Karuna Mai that uses the exact same teaching model. And then there's even a few churches out there that use the exact same teaching model. And again, for these people to be able to teach and have that many students is unprecedented. It's amazing that these people can have that many students and still be able to work with them all. And again, every one of these saints uses the exact same teaching model. A very simple, a prayer. And you're talking to God, and there's prayer can also be in the form of affirmations, stuff like that. And then there's meditation where you're listening to God. In fact, that's just as important, or sometimes maybe even more important than prayer, because a lot of people have a hard time listening, much less listening to God or Goddess. So you listen to God, and there's all kinds of meditations. Actually, most of the meditations that exist out there are what you call sound current or light meditation. They usually have to do with visualizations. They usually have to do with some kind of perception that has to do with creative imagination inside your mind and visualizing something or another. So predominantly, most of the meditations out there that exist are light meditation. And then there's another meditation that's called sound current meditation. Now, years ago, have you ever heard of the WESAC Festival, John?
No, I have not. I'm not really familiar with festivals and things.
Okay. Well, the WESAC Festival is basically, WESAC is the day that Buddha died and was born on and also the day to become enlightened. That's usually the full moon in Taurus every year, and that's usually around late April or early May. Anyhow, every year, people all over the world, especially mostly Buddhists, celebrate his birthday, celebrate this day called the WESAC Festival. It's also one of the most highly spiritual days of the year, where literally Buddha himself comes down from wherever he's at in the solar system. I believe he's still in the solar system, and goes literally to the Himalayan mountains and does a number of performances, a number of ceremonies where they've been done for years and years in the exact same way. And so he passes on his blessings to all his disciples, and then they in turn, throughout the year, will pass them out to other people, as they go along. So anyhow, every year, Joshua David Stone used to do a big celebration out in WESAC in Mount Shasta, California, and over 2,000 people from all over the world would come to this event and celebrate. And half of them were for the United States, the rest were from everywhere else. Well, anyhow, the first year I went was back in 1998, I believe. Right after I came back from India, visiting Sai Baba, I went there and I photographed the whole thing because I used to be a photographer. I still am, but I just don't do it actively. But anyhow, I photographed this whole event, and then Joshua David Stone, who produces this thing, or used to produce this thing, he also died the same year that my father died, but a few years ago. But after I sent him copies of these photographs, and he said, well, the masters want to know if you want to become the official photographer for the WESAC Festival. I said, okay, sure, fine, why not? So anyhow, in this whole, to make a long story short, the final, actually, I was the official photographer for this for 5 years in a row, or actually for 4 years in a row. I photographed it 5 years in a row, and then the fourth year, a man came forward. Every year they do the festival, and then the very next day, which is on a Monday, they do the festival on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday they do a leadership retreat. So every year I would photograph the leadership retreat as well. So the fourth year that I attended this thing, a man came forward, and he said his name was Babaji. Now, do you know anything about Babaji at all? Do you know who he is?
I've heard. I've heard of him maybe once, but that's about it.
Okay, so Babaji, there's all kinds of Babajis out there. There really is. And this particular Babaji is the one that's renowned for being over 3,000 years old. Literally, he's in a physical body. He's been in a physical body for over 3,000 years. And that same year, I went to the WESAC Festival. I think it was in 2000. I want to say one. Maybe it was two. I can't remember, but 2001 or 2002. No, I take it back. I think it was 2002 because that same year I went to Hawaii and then came back and then turned around and went to the WESAC Festival that same year in 2003. So anyhow, 2002, I go to the leadership retreat. Babaji comes forward. He says, "I'm Babaji." At this leadership retreat, and everybody clapped and was amazed because Babaji again is over 3,000. I take it back. I think he did this in 2001, and then 2002 was when I actually met him in person. And even when he came up and made that announcement, I didn't have time to talk to him, and I didn't even meet him there. He came forward, but I took all kinds of photographs, and he was in several of those photographs that same year. And then 2002, I attended a WESAC festival, and so he actually came out with these. I was with these three women, and staying in this hotel. And he came out literally and stayed with us and did a meditation with us called Sound Current Meditation. And literally, he's got a book called Doorway to Eternity. He wrote a book called Doorway to Eternity, and he's in that book he's made all kinds of predictions about the photon belt, about all these alignments going on with the solar system, with the galaxy, with the planets, all kinds of stuff. And he literally gave us a book, autographed it, and then he did some meditation with us. And that same night, during this particular weekend, and he said it was called Sound Current Meditation. And he said that there's only two kinds of meditation that exist in the world. Of sound current meditation, where you literally listen. Everybody has a frequency that they operate, a bass sound that their body is made of. And if you listen to that sound inside your mind, you can hear like a ringing sound. Have you ever heard a ringing sound in your ear before, John?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that ringing sound, many times, if you listen to the sound of your body, the sound of your tone, the sound of who you are, it's either the exact same tone, that same sound, or it's very similar, depending on, sometimes people get sick and they hear a ringing in their ear, and that's because they're sick or something like that, and that might be a little bit different. But this particular sound is the sound of your body that you can hear, and if you really listen to it and you really work with it and meditate on it, the types of transformation and transfiguration that you process through are amazing. So anyhow, since I've been doing that particular meditation, there's been shifts in my body system, shifts in my energies, and all kinds of other stuff. So that's one of the meditations that I do regularly, and when I do a lot of my stuff. So anyhow, We're going back to the 5 different types of spiritual practices, the teaching model that these saints use to teach their students with. And again, we're talking about these people that teach millions of students, not hundreds or even 10 or 50 or 20 or even thousands. They teach students by the millions, and they're very good at this. And this is the exact same teaching model they use: prayer, meditation, and then reading spiritual inspirational works, mantras, music, affirmations, or music, which is another one. And again, you're working with sound in that particular system setup, and that could be incorporate mantras and affirmations, reciting them out loud, and then there's service. Now, do you know who Benjamin Krim is, John and James?
Can you repeat that?
Do you know who Benjamin Krim is?
Benjamin Krim?
Yes.
I can't say I have.
Well, again, and just to refresh you guys' memory about what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about the ascendant entrepreneur, and this is where this is all leading to. If people want to become an ascendant entrepreneur, a lot of this stuff is the foundation for being an ascended enlightened being, a person. And then we'll go further into that in a little bit. But again, Benjamin Krim is who you call he's an artist, a very renowned artist in England, and his art sells by the thousands. I mean, his work is, a lot of his artwork is worth thousands and thousands of dollars, especially in Scotland. A lot of his stuff is in Scotland Museum. And so anyhow, he's also the forerunner for Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya Buddha is known by the Buddhists predominantly as being the Christ that's been residing in the Himalayan mountains up until the 70s, where he actually came in and embodied, or donned a body called the Marirupa body, which he actually put together himself. He was never actually born into a physical body, like through a womb, through a woman, but he actually just basically took on a physical body that he put together with himself, with all the elements of mostly the elements of the earth, but elements from other places of the universe. And that body is meant to last for several hundred years, literally. Just again, we're going back to talking about Babaji, who's over 3,000 years old, and Babaji didn't put his body together like Maitreya Buddha did. Babaji, when I talked to him and I said, Babaji, how were you able to maintain your body in this kind of condition? How were you able to maintain yourself and maintain alive all this time? Again, we're talking about literally this man is over 3,000 physical years old. I'm not talking about soul years. I'm not talking about spiritual years or anything. I'm talking about this man is physically, literally over 3,000 years old, and he's resided mostly in India for years and years and years. And then he came out to the Wesak festival to partake of all that. And I still have photographs of him. And I've worked with him, I've meditated with him, and it's like a privilege to be able to meditate with somebody, and converse with somebody, and relate with somebody, maintain a relationship with somebody that's over 3,000 years old. It's amazing. So, and then you sit here and you talk to him, and you don't really think that, you don't think, well, wow, this guy's 3,000. So I asked him, well, how were you able to maintain maintain yourself in a physical body for this? He said that mostly he would take on the bodies after somebody would be deceased, and then right afterwards the soul would leave, and then he would take on the body. Now he said that the last two. Do you know what a walk-in is, John?
What?
A walk-in.
Oh, a walk-in.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, we may have talked about a walk-in even. Go ahead.
Well, speaking of souls, it's basically like I astral project myself, so I can understand, basically walking back into one's body. my own.
Got it. Well, it's very similar to that, John. It's very similar to that. What it is two souls have come together. They've made it a contractual agreement prior to being born in that physical body, and one soul carries on the life to a certain point, to a certain time frame, and then at some point the other soul comes in and takes over and lives out the rest of the lifetime for that body. Now there might be other situations where this might be a little bit different, but that's kind of how it works. So that's the idea, if that makes any sense to you.
So this person, or these people who have lived thousands and thousands of years, it's never the same body, but it's always the same soul.
Okay, no, and okay, so maybe you're misunderstanding, or maybe I'm not saying this correctly. This person, Babaji, for the last 2 lifetimes that he's been in a body, he's done it under the guise. He's taken on the body as a walk-in. He made agreements with the soul, and usually a walk-in, usually that whole situation occurs when the body is in an accident, like a car accident or something usually traumatic happens, and then the other soul comes in and takes over. That's usually how you know if there's a walk-in situation. And it doesn't just occur with him or saints. There's all kinds of people that have experienced this, and they are walk-ins. There's I don't know how many hundreds, probably hundreds, maybe even thousands of people out there all have their lifestyle is of that particular style, of that particular type, and they are walk-in. So anyhow, I'm going to go forward because I don't have much time, and I want to get through this story about being an ascended entrepreneur and how it works for you, John, for people. So anyhow, this Babaji said that the last 2 lifetimes were as a walk-in, and he was literally in, I believe he said he was in his 12th body. The body that his name is now Kira Winwriter. Again, he wrote a book called the Doorway to Eternity. You can find it on the internet anywhere, and he's made all kinds of predictions in this book. And the body that he took on, the very last one was as a walk-in, and the one prior to as well. And I don't know how old he is, but he's well over 3,000 years old. And last I knew, he was back in India, and because the very last year that I actually photographed the Wesak Festival was in 2003. I have not been back since then. And so he's gone on back to India, and he married a woman by the name of Grace. Now, I'm not sure, but she might be an archangel by the name of Grace. I don't know, but she's a very beautiful woman. She's got really brilliant eyes. She's an older woman. I don't know how old she is, but in her 60s, 70s, I'm not sure. But she looks beautiful. You look in her eyes, and they're just brilliant blue, just wide awake. So anyhow, again, we're talking about beings that can live thousands of years, and then Maitreya Buddha again donned his body back in the 70s and came in, and he's been living in London, England since. To await some of that miracles that are getting ready to take place. There's already been a number of miracles that have been taking place. But anyhow, Benjamin Krim is the forerunner for the Christ, or as he calls himself, the Christ. And the Christ is not a person. The Christ is a physical energy. It's literally an energy of absolute love and wisdom. And they're both coupled together to embody what you call second-rate energy, which is of love and wisdom. So anyhow, going back to the 5 practices. So now, if you listen to a number of the messages back years ago, when Maitreya Buddha came forward and went to live in London, where he has been since, he overshadowed Benjamin Krim. And Benjamin Krim put forth a number of messages, or actually Maitreya Buddha did through Benjamin Krim, and there's like over 100 of these. And if you listen to these messages, They're all very, you can feel the Christ energies pouring through if you're sensitive to energies. And in those messages, you'll hear Maitreya Buddha say that the way to God, the way to know God, the way, and this last part is myself saying this, the way to be God is through service. So if you want to be in rubbing elbows with Goddess, that's the way you're going to do it. You're going to do it through service. And if you want to learn to become an enlightened being, you're going to want to do it through service and also maintain the other practices on a constant, regular basis, literally daily basis. So if you want to be an ascended master, anybody could be an ascended master at this point. And there are a number of them here on the planet that right now, as we speak, and you may never even know it many times. But an ascended master, if you want to define ascended master, basically is an enlightened being, a being that has attained a certain level of consciousness that's beyond the realm of our environment. Typically, and the way that you understand and know an ascended master, a true master, is that a true master has capability of manipulating the elements of their environment, earth, air, water, fire, and etherics. That's how you'll know who a master truly is, or who has that capability. And so an ascended master typically goes through, now everybody goes through a level of development through a number of initiations. What's that?
Can I say something? Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
So you're saying that anybody could, yes. And what I say is that our friend John Springer.
You have to speak up, John, because I can barely understand you. Go ahead.
No, it's James. This is James talking. Our friend John Springer has ascended in his own way.
Right.
Because he's talking.
We all ascend in our own way.
Exactly.
James, the focus of the show. Yeah. We all ascend in our own way, and that's exactly what Andrew here is saying. And
well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm like a messenger, John. I'm repeating what other saints and other beings have imparted to me, and I'm just regurgitating what these other beings have imparted to me. Does that make sense to you? Now, if you want to refer, again, let me go ahead and get through this because we don't have much time. If you're going to want to do readings in 30 minutes from now, then I don't have much time, and I know there's still a lot to cover here now. But if you want to go back and check any of these details, anybody is welcome to check any of this information for themselves. They can go study the works of Benjamin Creme, of Alice Bailey, of Joshua David Stone, of Helen Blavatsky. They can go to the Bible. I mean, there's all kinds of places to confirm any of this information for themselves. And if that's not enough, they go and get into your heart space and ask the questions for yourself, and then see what happens. See what kind of answers come forward. So again, an ascended master is an enlightened being, a being that has come to a level of understanding, a level of conscious awareness in their development, so that allows them to be free in their perceptions of the physical body, of the emotional body, of the mental body, and just be in the spiritual bodies, just be, period, and maybe even beyond the spiritual body as well. Because again, we're going back to development. Everybody goes through a development process. Everybody, and you're right. Everybody goes through a the process of becoming ascended in their own way. Not any one person or persons go through the ascended process in exactly the same way. It happens differently for everybody. And you're absolutely correct in that. Now, if you look at the different levels, stages of development for the what you call the beginning ascended master, if you want to call it that, the beginner ascended master, everybody goes through this process of just basically cultivating their energies, cultivating their mindset, their emotional vehicles, and at some point or another, everybody goes through the stages of going from a cell to become an amoeba, to becoming an animal, to become a monkey, if you want, an ape man, if you want, and then eventually to the point of becoming a human being, or even a hybrid starseed, and then eventually coming to the point of where you start taking initiations. Now, an initiation, John, is nothing more than a crisis. Typically, initiations, many of them are composed of crises that are put up forward to people so that it will help them through their development process. And if they don't pass like this test of this crisis, then they'll have to repeat it again until they finally are able to let go and just move on with it and go forward to the next initiation. Now, typically, what happens is the neophytes, which is people become what you call a neophyte. They become aware of spiritual energies, of emotions and feelings, of thoughts. And the neophyte eventually will start preparing their body, their physical body, for further development. And so the neophyte starts getting into physical exercise, doing physical exercises, eating right, and all kinds of stuff. And that's where you kind of know where everybody's at in a way. So pretty soon, they got a good program where they're really taking care of the body, and then they will take an initiation, and it doesn't happen all in sequential order exactly the same way, but everything's different because you might be working on your mental capabilities, and even though you've already prepared your body and you've already prepared your and maybe you haven't prepared your emotional feelings, you might be working with your mental capabilities, and then you go back to working with your emotional capabilities later on or whatever. But it just varies from person to person. But anyhow, you get the idea. You demonstrate that you know how to take care of your physical body, and you take what you call the first ray first initiation. And usually when you take an initiation, John, two beings are there for you, with you, assisting you, facilitating this process. At the first initiation, there might be an initiate, two initiates that are there. They're also beings that are still developing and working on becoming ascended masters, but they just haven't got that far yet. But they're still able to help other beings with their process of taking the first initiation and maybe even the second initiation, which has to do with learning how to balance your emotions and feelings. Now, a lot of people, if they don't maintain their emotions and feelings balanced, they usually get cancer or some kind of disease that allows them to heal enough so that they can start balancing their emotions and feelings. And that's what diseases are nothing more than healing properties to help people heal of different things that they've been, either patterns that they've been repeating that aren't healthy, or things that they've been stuff that the emotions and feelings that they've been holding in that's not healthy. So disease is just nothing more than a healing element, a healing tool for people to learn from, so that they can become healthier further down the road. So anyhow, at some point, people will work with their emotional vehicle and learn how to demonstrate balancing their emotions and feelings, and then they'll go on to the mental capabilities, the mental development of their self. And usually the second initiation, which has to do with demonstrating that you know how to maintain a balance of emotions and feelings, is the most difficult initiation to go through out of all these five. and then the next initiation has to do with your mental capabilities. Now, the reason that many people that's why I recommend many people to go to college and go to school. Are you still there, John?
Yeah, I still am. I'm sorry I'm not making enough noise. I'm just like...
Oh, well, no, but I all of a sudden it got really quiet, and I thought, wow, that's very amazing. So you must be working on your mental capabilities and making it really quiet or something.
Yeah, I'm processing what you're saying because a lot of what you're saying are things that angels have told me in the past.
Oh, really? And again, this is not stuff. This is not stuff that I'm saying that this Andrew Aloha stuff, and he's coming up with it, and it's brand new stuff. This is a lot of this stuff is very old, very ancient stuff, information. And again, much of it comes from the Alice Bailey works, from the Benjamin Creme works, from the Joshua David Stone works. And again, some of this will even come from the Bible. But again, people can go read it for themselves. And I didn't have to, and you had the luxury of being imparted to you by an angel in your mindset, and you didn't even have to read it. That's no fair if you ask me, but that's besides the point. But whatever. But anyhow, I've read several of these books, and a lot of this stuff. This is why I understand and know it. Go ahead.
Right, and that's why when you came up with these words earlier in the show, I didn't know what you meant because I wasn't familiar with those terms.
Got it.
I have different words that I would.
Got it. No, and I'm putting this forward as simple as I understand. But if something is still not understandable, then of course let me know, and then I'll see if I can go back and reiterate in a different way.
I'll be probably contacting you after the show because I feel this urge to have a bit of a deeper discussion with more time and things like that. Yeah. Well,
I mean, we can still do this on this show. I don't know if you have to do readings today, but we can still do this on the show, and that might even be better anyhow. But after I'm done, but let me finish this process so you understand what an ascended entrepreneur is. That's what we're talking about, and that's what I'm trying to get to you right now. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, if you want to, I mean, if you have to do readings, that's fine, but we can do this discussion on here on the air, and it might even be better for you anyhow. But anyhow, so the next initiation again has to do with demonstrating that you know how to think, how to work on a mental level, and that's what I recommend to people. To most people, to go to school, go to college, and learn how to think, because a lot of people, that's just the easiest way. It's not necessarily the only way, but it is, for most people, it is the easiest way. So anyhow, especially here in the United States, the next initiation has to do with being going through what you call a transfiguration, and then a transformation process, and then literally you go through and become what you call an ascended an ascended master, or a master, or an enlightened one. So now this process, the fourth initiation. For the fourth initiation to go through that whole process, at the third initiation, right afterwards, and usually once you get through the second initiation, then the third, fourth, fifth, it comes easier and faster. So it's very possible for a person, usually, and again, for a person to get to this point, even to the third initiation where you're demonstrating your mental capabilities, it takes lifetimes, John, lifetimes, thousands of years, hundreds of years to even get to the first initiation, much less the second, third, fourth, fifth initiation. But once you get to the second, to the third, fourth, third initiation, usually the fourth, fifth come a little bit easier. And again, it's possible to become enlightened in one lifetime once you get through that process. So now, in the fourth initiation, in order for the fourth initiation to manifest, to happen, to go through that process, to that development process. You typically what happens is you go through and you do. Now I have gone and done past life regression. I've also dreamt myself in other lifetimes from a past lifetime. I've even dreamt my sisters in a future lifetime. They're going to be sisters, and then probably next lifetime they're going to be sisters again. But probably, and they get along pretty well now. But I think they're even going to get along even better in the next lifetime. But anyhow, when you go into the fourth initiation, transfiguration process, then literally you go into past lifetimes so that you can clear up all the karma that you need to clear up so that you can move forward and become enlightened. So you do. People will do past life regressions. They'll dream themselves of in other lifetimes. They will even, there's all kinds of stuff, or maybe some kind of something will trigger of them remembering themselves in another lifetime from a past lifetime. But either way, you do. In my particular case, a lot of it had to do, for this process, had to do with working with two prior partners, girlfriends. One woman I had been married to in 8 lifetimes at least. And her and I came together again, and we were actually informally married again in this lifetime, but we weren't formally married, and we were able to resolve ourselves enough so that we can finally be clear of all our karma from those lifetimes, and now we still actually maintain, we still stay connected, and we're still in touch, and we're still really good friends. We still connect all the time and really talk to each other about once a week or so, and then talk about different things. And then the other significant past life clearance that had to be done was with another girlfriend that a sister. I believe she used to be my sister in a particular past life, and she used to really abuse me in really erotic sexual ways or whatever. I don't know what. But if we were in a bar, all I can remember is we were in a barn, and she was just really obnoxious, and I don't know how bad she abused me, but it wasn't healthy. So I did a past life regression for that particular process of understanding, and after I did that past life regression, I recognized her figure, I recognized her hair, and I didn't really see her face or her eyes. But when I seen her in this lifetime, I knew exactly who she was, and I knew exactly what was going on. And so we did get involved again in this lifetime for a little while, and then I think it was enough for us to clear up our karma. And then finally we parted ways, and then moved on. And so at one point, what happened, John? Because I go in and I ask my guidance. Am I going to have to be dealing with this person again next lifetime, or am I going to be meeting with this person in another lifetime again? And usually I would get, probably not, or maybe in one other lifetime. Usually I would get that type of information. And then about 8 years ago, go ahead.
I'm sorry, it's getting kind of loud over here.
Okay. So anyhow, we only got a few minutes, but anyhow, I at one point about 8 years ago, John, I went out with a woman in Flagstaff. Her and I, we went out to a place called the Wine Loft in Flagstaff, and then I got up to go get some wine, and then I bent over and I kissed her, and then I went over and got the wine, and she really liked that kiss. And then so we went out, and she goes, why don't we go out and go out and sit in the go walk around or something. And I said, okay, let's go. So we did. We got intimate, and then afterwards I asked my guidance, well, are her and I going to be meeting with each other again in another lifetime? And my guidance said, from now on, all the relationships that you're going to be involved in are going to be you're going to be involved in future lifetimes. And this particular woman, you're going to be involved with her several lifetimes. So I thought, well, man, I have a whole lot of stuff I'm going to be doing with this girl. But and with that in mind, I thought, okay, well, I'm not even going to worry about whether we get together again or what's going to happen, because I'm already going to have to be dealing with her again and again and again and again. So, but also, what it made me realize, John, is that I maybe think that I really need to be cautious, and not even cautious is the right word, but I really need to work towards being in healthy relationship with people at all times. Because if I'm going to have to be meeting with this person again next lifetime, guess what? I don't want it to be an obnoxious situation, a situation where I have to put up with that person again, or I have to be watching my back because of that person, or whatever. So why not just maintain a nice, good, healthy relationship with that person in this lifetime? And, that can mean all kinds of things. And there's all different ways of handling different relationships in different ways, and they're still going to be healthy. But so that made me realize that I really, really should be conscious of how I relate with people and really work towards maintaining a good, healthy relationship with everybody, not just with people that I want to or not want to, with everybody, because who knows what's going to happen next lifetime or the next lifetime or the next lifetime, and so on. So I want every relationship that I encounter to be as healthy as possible, so that next lifetime it's going to be healthy again and hopefully get better. And so so when I'm saying to you, John, that I want to talk to people, I want to teach people how to be an ascended entrepreneur, that's exactly what I'm talking about, John. A business person that comes from the standpoint of view that you're going to be in healthy relationship with everybody around you, no matter what, and you're going to be in healthy relationship with them as best you can, as best you know how. And again, it varies from person to person, and you're also going to be which means you're going to be in your integrity. You're going to be transparent as much as possible. You're going to be doing a level of practices. Every saint. Now, I've talked to you about transmission meditation. Is that correct, John?
Yes, you have.
I've talked to you about transmission meditation. Now, it's my understanding, John, and this is if you go to look at the works of Benjamin Creme, he states, Benjamin Creme himself states that transmission meditation is the meditation that the gurus do. If more than likely, if you're a guru or a teacher, you're going to be doing this type of meditation. So, which is also a service. Again, it's a service of karma yoga and laya yoga. Karma yoga, doing resolving karma as a group, and to help heal the world, and then doing and also laying on hands, where you come together as a group, you do this meditation as a group, and that energy is sent out through the world through hands-on healing from a master that's overshadowing the group, and that energy going out into the world and helping heal the world as well. So again, you're when you're working and teaching and professing to be an ascended entrepreneur, your integrity, you're working on as much of a transparent level of attainment as possible, and you're always doing service. Again, I said earlier, service is the way to God, the way to know God, to be with God, Goddess, to be God, Goddess. So again, when you're just an ascended entrepreneur, you're working from that level. Then you're literally working toward on the level of a high conscious awareness of everything going around you, everything going on within you, and on a regular basis, daily basis, promoting that healthy relations with yourself and with everybody around you. Does that make sense to you, John?
Makes perfect sense.
So now there are different beyond that, John. There are different things that people can do that and that if I was to train a group of people to become ascended entrepreneurs, and I was to send them out into the world, people would recognize them by their actions, John. And there's a level of activities that people can be able to do. One of the things that I would like for their business, and there's all kinds of stuff that they would do with their businesses that they're running, including working on the level of the building and establishing and doing feng shui in their building, and even establishing an altar in their building. Should always be an altar in their building for a level of sacredness that will allow the elementals and the fairies and all the little beings that like to work with them, that will to come in and be with them and work with them. Because if they don't allow for that to happen, then their creativity could be staunched, and pretty soon their business is going in the ground, or they don't even know which way their business is going. So there's all kinds of other different things that an ascended entrepreneur would do from a business point of view that would make a whole lot of difference from the regular business person that would just throw a business together and get it going and then run it, and then it's up and going. And how is it effective? Is it promoting service? Is it promoting healthy right relationships? Is it going to last? Is it vibrant? Is it really alive? That's the question. And if you look at all the businesses on the planet, all the CEO companies on the planet, you look at those aspects of them, those companies, those businesses, those CEOs, and you see, are these people vibrant? Are they in right, healthy relationship with everyone and themselves? Are they doing spiritual practices? Are they maintaining a level of sacredness with their businesses? Are they promoting service? There's all kinds of stuff. Those are some of the main stuff. But there's all kinds of stuff you can look at and to see if they're actually doing that. And then if they're not, then there's different things that can be done that including astrology reading. One of the things that I do in fact, next Friday, one of the shows that I do is called the Golden Age Psychic Travel Show. And for those of you that are listening to the show and would like to be on that show, of course, get in touch with me at spiritualimageproductions.com. Go to spiritualimageproductions.com. You can get all my contact information is there. You can email me, call me, and whatever else, and then go from there. And if not only that, but if you go to the events page there, John, there's a button called Assist Divine Events at the very top in the middle. If you click on that, that typically is updated regularly every month, and that lists all the featured shows that I do throughout the month. Again, I do a number of shows as well here on Blog Talk Radio, including a psychic show, a channeling show, a relationship show, a music show. I do interviews, and of course the Golden Age Psychic Travel Show, where I interview businesses, and then at the very last 15-20 minutes, I will do an astrology reading on that particular business and their management. And since I've been doing that particular show since last year, April, there have been some very significant outcomes out of that, which to me I wasn't expecting, but they're very, very significant and very useful and profound. And so if you would want to be on that particular show, of course, get in touch with me, and we can see about making those arrangements. And so if people want to be on any of the shows that I do, the main criteria, again, for being on any of the shows that I do has to do with being in a right, healthy relationship with each other and with yourself. And in fact, just a few days ago, I had a conflict come up, and I was supposed to do an interview the other day, and I refused to do it because there was some conflict going on. There was some unhealthy relationship going on, and there was two parties. I was going to interview with one party, and I was going to interview another party, and I just simply said no to both of them. I said, I'm not interviewing with you, and I'm not interviewing you, and we're done. That's it. And if you guys can't come to terms and be in a right, healthy relationship with each other, then I'm not supporting any of that. So see you later, bye. And literally, that was about the actual verbiage that I use almost for the most part. So anyhow, that's an outline of the crux of the Ascended Entrepreneur, John. And if people are interested in doing some kind of workshop or presentation or seminar with me on this, hiring me to do this, in their particular area, of course, they can get a hold of me, 928-310-1700, 928-310-1700, or email me, spiritualimageproductions@yahoo.com, spiritualimageproductions@yahoo.com, or just go to my website and there, and you can get my information. And I would be, I'm getting ready. I haven't started on this book, but I know I just moved to Tucson about 3 weeks ago, and literally about 5-6 weeks ago, I put in a request to be provided with all the support that I need to write these books. I've been downloaded with 3 different books, one on relationships, one on the ascendant entrepreneur, and one on psychic ability. And the one that I want to go forward first with is the ascendant entrepreneur, and that's why I'm talking to you today about this particular subject, because that's what's in the hot seat, and that's what's on my plate, and I'm getting ready to get that up and going. But I appreciate you coming here, letting me come here and talk to you about it. It kind of not only allows me to talk to your audience about this, but it also allows me to just kind of organize it, even in my own thoughts and in my own words, so that I can go back and really work with developing this book. And eventually, I'm not sure if I'm going to have a workbook for this or not, but eventually I'll get this put together, and then I'll be doing workshops, seminars, and webinars around this. If people want to, again, go to spiritualimageproductions.com, and if you want more information on this, or if you want to keep up abreast with this, then sign up for the email list, SIP's Divine email list, and then you can keep abreast. And then as soon as I come out with this, then we can see about getting you a copy or whatever, from there. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. There you go, John.
All right.